The good old hockey game only gets better when a left winger shoots and scores and brings Canada a big victory over the Russians. Almost 40 years ago, ice hockey hero Paul Henderson was a hotshot NHLer who was privileged to be part of one of our greatest hockey moments. Henderson continues to embrace hockey and speak about challenges and about sport. Today, it is my pleasure to welcome Paul Henderson back to Studio 4 to tell us more.
Nice to be back, Fanny.
Nice to see you again. So, it's the goal that never gets old.
Well, I'm getting old anyway.
How much longer are we going to talk about that goal?
Well, it amazes me, but this sweater tour has put it back on the map again. And of course, selling for $1.27 million added a little mystique to it also. So it's been a nice ride.
No kidding. So, the first time you gave that sweater away was to whom?
The trainer, Joe Scrow. There was no market for memorabilia back in '72. Joe was the trainer of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and he was also where I played, and the trainer of Team Canada. A great guy, always took care of me, and so who better to give it to?
Exactly. Now, did he have a tag day or something and have to sell that
Well,
jersey,
that's what happened.
What happened?
He sold it in 1990, I guess, for $5,000. Somebody bought it, sold it for $60. Then it went, I think the last time it was sold for $160. American bought it, a collector in the United States. And he got cancer, actually just a little after I did, and was going to sell everything. And then, of course, it went up to auction, and I authenticated it to make sure it was mine. And then it went for $1.27 million, which amazed me and every other Canadian.
No kidding. So you authenticated it.
Yes.
What does that mean? You looked in the back to see if your name was there?
Well, they were the Russians designed them, actually. They were so heavy. I actually cut about 6 inches off the sleeve because when you got sweaty, you could hardly lift the thing, and it had lining in it, if you could believe it. So I cut the lining out of it. And so as soon as I saw it, because I actually cut the sleeves myself, and of course men do not do really good jobs at that, so I knew immediately it was my sweater, and so it's been a nice reunion with it.
Sure. Do you know where all the other sweaters are? Do we call them sweaters or jerseys?
Well, jerseys, whatever you want to. Some of the guys sold them. Some of them, I guess, still have them. We had two of them. The one in Canada, it's in the Hockey Hall of Fame, along with the stick that I scored. But in the trailer, we do have one of the sticks I used in the series, and the gloves that I had, and obviously the sweater is the centerpiece.
And where's that puck?
Whitey Staple, the little rascal, he has had that thing for, well, since it says you can see when the game is over, he makes a beeline for it. And it's a nondescript black puck, but we've been trying to get him to give it to the Hall of Fame. And but it's his notoriety, and so the little rascal, he won't give it up. Still has it in a shoebox in a closet down in Glencoe.
So maybe one day.
We're hopefully.
Maybe it's in the will.
Well, I'm really hoping he puts in Canada Sports Hall of Fame. That's going to open in Calgary. So we're putting a little heat on him for that. So maybe it'll end up there.
You just never know. As you tour across this country, I bet you hear a story a minute, or at least every 4 minutes. You can't go anywhere with that trailer without somebody saying to you, you know, Paul, when you scored that goal, I was doing this.
Oh, exactly. And you get new ones all the time. Like, it's incredible. And I know your birthday is September 28th.
Yes.
It's amazing how many people were born September 28th. In fact, one person, his mother gave birth, and we were just talking about this.
Right.
His mother gave birth just as I scored the goal, and she called him Paul Henderson, whatever his last name was. So there's a Paul Henderson, whatever his name, out there somewhere.
That's dedication.
Well,
I was in labor during the series, I have to say, and I think my husband at the time was not paying much attention to me. He was not patting my brow. He was watching a lot more hockey. But that was a few days before, so by the time the 28th rolled around, I'd already birthed.
Well, there you go. Did you get rid of him?
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
I recycled him, but I kept the country.
Oh, there you go.
And we're still friends.
Oh, they're good. Good.
You see, divorce the man, keep the country. That's
sure,
how
there
it
you
worked.
go. There you go.
You bet. And a great guy and the father of my children, obviously.
Yeah.
So why not keep it happy?
Yeah, there you go.
So your retirement challenges, when you gave up hockey or hockey gave you up, what was it like when the applause dies? I've talked to other NHLers about this, and they say, you know, it's kind of weird.
Well, it wasn't for me. Like, I was 38, and I decided to retire. I was playing for Atlanta, and actually Atlanta were moving to Calgary, and Cliff Fletcher actually offered me another 2-year contract and wanted me to, play, but then be a part of the team. But I was 38, played 18 years. My wife and I talked it over, and we'd had enough. We wanted to do something else. I had no desire to stay in the game of hockey, and so I walked away very comfortably from it. It was a great run, had it, and now I want to do something else.
Sure.
And so,
how did you get into the game of hockey? Who taught you to skate?
I was very slow. We were very poor. I didn't get a pair of skates till I was 9. So we played a lot of floor hockey and street hockey until I got a pair of skates. But I was 9 before I got my first pair, and played most of my hockey on the road. We didn't have artificial ice in the little village that I grew up in. So I was really, really fortunate. I have a 9-year-old grandson that plays AAA, and he's played more games already at 9 than I did when I turned pro.
Really?
And he played 80 games this year.
Already?
It's crazy, nuts.
And what's Grandpa doing when he's playing those games? I bet you're yelling.
I see more hockey games now, and his 5-year-old brother plays also. So every weekend, there's Granny and I in the stands. And
oh, perfect. And do you dare give advice?
We don't say a word. And my wife, my wife said, you shut up. You say nothing. Well, my son-in-law is the coach, so that makes it a little more. So we just encourage him. And now as he gets a little bit older, I may take him out a little bit. But at this point, we're just so proud of him, and just go out there and work hard. And so no advice.
No. How's this game changed since you played it? Faster? Boys could be stronger, maybe not stronger.
Oh, they are much stronger. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're better conditioning. And it's like there's a viciousness out there. Like some nights I even call it thuggery. And I don't like the way the game is moving. And hopefully now it's got to the point where it's got so bad they're going to have to do something about it. My problem is I've got 100 questions and no answers, other than the fact that I really think they've got to increase the size of the arena. Because like we would go out and I'd stay out there for 2 minutes. You never come off. Now it's 45, 50 seconds, and it's just go, go, go. So, and there's somebody on you right off the bat. And so it's a very physical game, and how you can avoid injuries, I don't know. But when you lose your star players like Crosby, I mean, it's a terrible detriment to the game. And so we've got to do something. But I think we need to start right back as a culture change as kids. And these coaches, these crazy, well, I'm teaching my kids to play tough hockey.
Well, you know, when you watch an Olympic game, and you know this well.
There's a good point.
It's great hockey.
Great hockey.
And you don't see enforcers knocking people apart or you know, I mean, I know Gordie Howe had elbows, believe me. But do you think we can blame some of it on the equipment, because there's visors and better pads or just different equipment now today?
Well, I think that's a part of it. They're shooting the puck 100 mile an hour, and if you're blocking shots and a guy's shooting the puck at 100, you need to have a suit of armor on you, because you can't be going down and trying to block shots with the equipment that we had. So it's changed. Like, I mean, I doubt if anybody could shoot the puck harder than 75 mile an hour. But with these new sticks, everybody shoots it over 90, 95. And so obviously it's changed. But unfortunately, there's a mentality out there. I think it's a loss of respect more than anything. I think there was, and if you didn't, then somebody else would take care of you. Now they've taken that instigator rule out, and I think that's been a detriment to the game. So we've got some problems, but the good news is I really hope the Canucks are going to win the Stanley Cup this year.
Well, me too.
Man,
well, we got the
man.
President's Trophy.
Yeah, well, that's a start.
That's a start.
That's a start.
And 3-1 beat LA last night. That's another start. Yeah. And I don't know about who are we going to be up against. Who knows? Detroit?
Well, you got to beat them all. So you got 4 series. You got to win it. Really, it's incidental who you got to play. You just got to beat them.
Tell me about. So easily said, isn't it?
Yes.
That's pretty simple. Just got to beat them.
That's all you got to do.
What about an international competition as opposed to a playoff, as opposed to a regular game? Getting your head around it, wrapping your head around it, any different?
Not a whole lot. I think you go out there and you, but I think there's, you know going in if you got a really good shot at it. And I think the Canucks this year, I mean, I think there's tremendous confidence. I mean, I think they're one of the most gifted teams. And so I think they're going in with a lot of anticipation and a lot of confidence. They know, and especially if Luongo comes up big, man, they're going to be awful tough to beat. So I think everybody prepares differently, but you're a professional, and the preparation now is so much more advanced than when I played the game. I mean,
Sure.
But the one thing, I think they're overcoached. Like, I mean, like you got 4 or 5 coaches
Because
on
of
the
Vigneault or because too many coaches?
No, the whole
him.
league is too much. The guys are overcoached. Let them go out and play hockey. I mean, your guy goes out, they come back, and you do this, they do that. You know, skilled hockey players, let them go out. Unfortunately, you've got enough skilled hockey players that just to keep them out of bad habits. But I think that's one of the other things that hockey in the NHL, I think it's overcoached. It's overcoached all over the place.
Well, I think our kids sometimes are overcoached.
Oh, no question.
I talked to my kid's soccer coach once, and he said, I just want those kids to go out and play soccer. They don't have to run drills. They don't have to do this or that. First, they have to enjoy this game. It's like a young musician. You want to turn somebody on to guitar. Don't get them into the technical aspects and all of that. Let them play something that'll turn them on. And like sport turns you on. And I don't mean that you don't need somebody to help you if you're not hitting the ball or doing whatever you're supposed to do. You know, or look at a golfer. Goes along, swing goes south. You think, what the heck happened with that? Like I'm one of the best golfers in the world, and I'm slicing.
Well, that's how competitive it is. But I mean, you need the drills. I mean, you need to do that. But when the game starts, let them play the game.
Kessler, Luongo, Sedins, I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah, you're pretty good shape.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Paul Henderson, our guest, you know who he is. We'll come back.